Our society is currently in a desperate crisis situation. Mass consumerism has led us into a severe garbage disposal problem. We're running out of holes in the ground to throw our waste. To compound the problem, industry has flooded the marketplace with a wide array of toxic household chemicals and non-biodegradable plastics.
What we've created with plastics is almost a supreme organic chemical. You have us, we are lowly and base organics. We're just flesh, we rot, we decompose. Plastics are almost organic, they're almost like flesh, like us, except they will never decompose. And in that way, they are like supreme flesh, flesh that will live forever and conquer. It's something I did a lot of research on, and what I'm doing is, I guess it's kind of a new idea, which is to do with the plasticization of the human race, and particularly of North American people. That a lot of times in jest or in conversations, people refer to each other as plastic. Hey, you seem really plastic, or like, you know, that girl or that guy is really a plastic person. In fact, that's becoming very true of our society. Plastics have penetrated, crept into our daily lives to such an extent. People rely on them so much that, in fact, the artificiality, the charade of plastic has become part of our personalities, and thus we are plastic people.
North Americans produce twice as much garbage as European countries with comparable standards of living. The disposable ethic has gripped us. More and more throwaway items are appearing on our store shelves. Where does it all go? The city of Montreal burns 90% of its municipal waste. The unsorted garbage is burned at the Descarrières incinerator, located in the residential area of Rosemont. The incinerator burns 300,000 tons of garbage each year. The heat created from the burning process is harnessed to produce steam electricity. The electricity is purchased by some of the surrounding industry. Montreal's incinerator is seen by some as an example of a convenient way of solving the garbage disposal crisis and creating an alternative source of energy at the same time. Energy from waste incineration is becoming the trend amongst municipal waste management programs across Canada. There are plans in the province of Ontario alone to build 12 energy from waste incinerators in upcoming years. What seems to be a quick and easy solution to the garbage crisis is not without its serious drawbacks.
The City of Montreal inaugurated the Descarrières Street incinerator in 1970 with a great deal of fanfare. The former mayor, Jean Drapeau, called it pollution-free and the most modern of its kind in the world. And by the mid-70s, it became evident that it was certainly not pollution-free, even though it was, in fact, modern. A good percentage of the dust, which is generated in the burning of garbage, was not being trapped by these so-called pollution-free anti-pollution control devices, and they were finding their way into the air in the neighborhood around the incinerator.
We asked Catherine Accurdy, a nutritionist who has grown up in a house built only a few yards away from the incinerator, for some impressions.
There's quite a few parks around here, and all the children in the area used to go to the parks fairly often and play around there. And when we'd walk by, we'd smell the garbage coming from the site. The garbage is kept there before they actually incinerate it, and you get a very pungent stench coming from there. In the winter, you don't really smell it much. All you smell is the smoke coming from the smokestacks. Every day when the incinerator was in operation, there was ash all over the snow. Like, obviously you notice it more in the winter. And the snow was always black.
Dust and stench have been two of the most common complaints by local residents in the densely populated area around the incinerator. There is a more invisible and threatening problem that the residents haven't been able to complain about because they can't see it.
You can almost regard a waste incinerator as a dioxin manufacturing plant. The Swedes have done some interesting work in this area, and they were very concerned when they discovered dioxins in mother's milk. And when they did some calculations, they found that children who were being breastfed were getting much too much dioxin, even in terms of liberal limits of exposure. So they went about the task of trying to understand where dioxin in the Swedish environment was coming from. They found that the single largest contributing source of dioxin to the Swedish environment was municipal waste incineration. So we know that burning garbage, from their work and from the work that has been done in North America in analyzing for dioxins in the stack gases of municipal incinerators, we know that incineration is a major source of dioxin in our society and probably in our world for that matter.
Dioxins have been classified by the United States Environmental Protection Agency as the most toxic and deadliest chemical compounds known. These dioxins are created in the incinerator when plastics are burned, along with wood and paper products. The chlorine chemical in plastics and the chemical lignin used in wood and paper products combine in the burning process to create the dioxin compound. Dioxins were the active chemical compound in the defoliant Agent Orange, of which thousands of liters were dumped onto the Vietnamese countryside by the American military in the Vietnam War. Dioxins are still used today in many common garden herbicides and in wood preservatives.
The substance is persistent and very stable, so that once it's emitted, it doesn't disappear or go away. It tends to become attached to some particulate and find its way slowly up through the food chain so that we become little biological magnets for the dioxins that we have released into the environment. And, you know, the greatest impacts of human exposure to dioxin may not occur until slowly our children and their children are exposed to ever-increasing amounts of it as they, you know, collect by eating fish and vegetables and being nursed as babies. I mean, the dioxin that's available in the environment. So that's the nature of the concern with respect to dioxin and waste incineration.
We asked Dr. Kate Davies of the City of Toronto Public Health Department what could be some of the possible health effects associated with the accumulation of dioxins in our environment.
Dioxins and dibenzofurans have some acute effects. They cause disturbances in the central nervous system and also a number of skin diseases like chloracne. There are also long-term effects such as dioxins have been shown to be teratogens. That is to say, they cause developmental defects in the offspring of exposed mothers. They are also thought to be promoters of the carcinogenic process, particularly as far as liver tumors are concerned. And they also suppress the immune system substantially.
Michael Feinstad is the chairman of the executive committee for the City of Montreal.
Notre incinerateur, qui est juste en passant, un des incinérateurs les plus efficaces dans le monde. Parce que le dioxine qui sort de notre incinérateur, on ne sait pas pourquoi, est le niveau le plus bas de tous les incinérateurs dans le monde. Mais on ne sait pas pourquoi. Juste par hasard, c'est comme ça. Parce que nous savons qu'est-ce qui se passe dans d'autres villes, que c'est très dangereux. Mais le dioxine est tellement bas que c'est presque pas possible même d'avoir une mesure de dioxine qui sort de l'incinérateur de la ville de Montréal, ça fait 20 ans que ça dure. Et la vie de l'incinérateur, on prévoit que ça va continuer à opérer jusqu'à l'année 2005.
There has been only one dioxin study carried out on the Des-Carrières incinerator. The 1983 Environment Canada report found virtually no dioxins. The report admits that these results are contrary to every available study done on incinerators throughout the world. A study carried out on a similar incinerator in the City of Toronto showed that approximately 4 to 5 kilograms of dioxin were emitted annually. The report offers no explanation for the exception at the Des-Carrières incinerator. One possible explanation may lie in the fact that the study method at Des-Carrières was developed in part by Dow Chemical, a major producer of plastics, and also of Agent Orange. The pollution control device on the Des-Carrières incinerator is an electrostatic precipitator. It electrically charges the outgoing fly ash and captures them like a magnet. The current device was installed in 1983 at the cost of $10 million. The precipitator is effective at capturing the large fly ash particles. However, 30% of the dioxins attach themselves in solid form to small particles which are not effectively removed by precipitators. The remaining 70% of the dioxins escape into the environment, entirely unabated by the electrostatic precipitators. Other toxins created in a mass burn situation, such as mercury, cadmium, lead, arsenic, and hydrochloric acid, are also released into the environment in alarming amounts. Studies worldwide have pointed to municipal garbage incineration as a major source of these potent carcinogens. Lead has been proven to cause irreversible brain damage. Cadmium attacks the kidneys. Mercury causes birth defects. Hydrochloric acid promotes lung disease. Arsenic has been linked to skin cancer. There have been no tests at the Des-Carrières incinerator or in the surrounding area for these hazardous compounds.